I am the fire, I am burning brighter, roaring like a sun, and I am the one I've been waiting for.
Alrighty, what is up, Phoenix fam, Phoenix Gate people, Phoenix Nation?
I like Phoenix Gate people. I like
Sports
that.
puck.
I like that insinuation for, the genre you're going to lead us into.
That's true.
Yeah. Hello. Welcome. I'm here. The color wheel. I'm Scarlett. Color wheel spinning. We got Lavender and Jade with us.
Hello.
And we also have the wonderful podcast cats.
They're around.
Yes.
And podcast puppy over there sleeping at your feet.
Yep.
I love this for them.
We love this for them.
Yes. So,
This is exciting.
yeah.
This
yes,
is
it is.
exciting because this is Scarlett's episode. You picked the topic.
Yes, I did.
You picked everything that we're going to talk about today, and I'm very fucking excited because we are kicking off Pride Month.
Fuck yeah.
And you remember what Pride Month spells? Demon. So, if that don't give you a hint as to what we're talking about, I don't know what will.
Hello.
We're talking about queer representation in horror.
Honestly, it's, believe it or not, in the research that I was doing for this topic, because I'm not as huge of a horror buff as Lavender and Scarlett, I found some really interesting information that, these are classic movies that I've previously watched, never, ever, ever made the connection.
Yeah.
As a queer person, you think I would, but I didn't.
It's not always very apparent all of the time. Sometimes it takes a few rewatches. Sometimes it takes a lot of your own personal experience and your own mirroring onto these films to really see that. So that's actually pretty normal.
Yeah, no. Some that they were like, I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I knew that. But some I'm reading and as I'm doing the research, I was like, really? Why? And then I was like, oh, this is cool. This is cool.
Especially Wolfman. That's a big one we were talking about before, that that Wolfman is a queer icon, everybody. Everybody love your local Wolfman, please and thanks.
We love our wolfmen.
We do.
Looks at my husband.
No, you want to know what makes it even better, though? Is that, this means, according to all the research that I have done, that there has been queer representation in movies and media for almost 100 years.
And that just goes to show we've been here.
not
everyone's
going
in here
anywhere.
oh, what's with this woke shit? We've been here this whole time. I don't know what y'all are talking about.
I mean, it's not our fault that you decided to stereotype us in certain ways, but we've always been here.
And talking about over 100 years, do you know what number episode this is?
Almost 100 years. But you're right.
We are on episode 100.
Oh my God, it's such a big thing.
I've been so excited to
Such a
say
big
that.
thing. It's such a big thing. You've been listening to our theme song for almost 100 episodes.
That's wild.
As I play it again.
Yes, you should. It's a fire song. And yes, I am using fire, pun intended.
I'm just gonna keep freaking just hyping us up.
blast it.
It's just
Light that shit up. Let's go.
honestly 100 episodes. God damn. I love it.
That's commitment right there. That's commitment.
Yo, 100 episodes I've been doing this, people. I started as a one-woman show. I got through 3 other hosts, and now I'm at the color wheel. I'm finally home, and it's just fucking amazing. It's great. It's so fucking good.
Face pedal.
Right?
Yeah. This is awesome. I'm
mean,
sorry.
yeah.
The one of the podcast pups is just
Super
stealing my
excited.
attention. She's also excited.
She is, but if she keeps it up, I'm going to have to chase her upstairs.
Oh no.
Go upstairs, puppy, because all you're going to do is bark, and we can't have that on the film. That's right. Go lay down. Anyways, so, yeah, so almost 100 years of queer representation in horror,
Yeah.
which is not even a mainstream genre, because you have to have a special constitution to enjoy horror films.
And that's a main reason I feel like so much queer undertoning and queer storytelling can happen in horror.
Well, I mean, Trixie Mattel herself said, and I always have trouble finding this clip on YouTube, but I found it once and I never found it again. But she's on like a Twitch stream or something, playing the Friday the 13th game, which
Love this for her.
that game is just pure chaos. But there's like some fucking like 13-year-old like, oh, why do so many gays play this game? And she's like, and I can't remember exactly like word for word what she said, but basically like the gist of it was, like, because gay people go through a lot of, unfortunately, like a lot of gay people go through a lot of shit in their real life, a lot of horrible things that sometimes they find comfort in the horror genre. And then she goes off, and then she says, but I wouldn't know because I'm not gay. Well, in full drag on stream. And I'm just like, Trixie, you crazy woman, I love you.
Horror is for the gays.
I love her.
Just is what it is.
Yes.
True. And it's Pride Month. So
Yes.
obviously, match excitement here, from 3 bisexuals.
Yes.
Woot, woot.
That's right. Yeah. But like, honestly though, it's amazing because we know a lot of people from different circles, and we know that there's a lot of people that some of them prefer horror, some of them hate it.
Yeah.
I
mean, we know that I pretty much live, breathe, and eat horror. I'm literally wearing a Scream shirt right now.
Yes.
With Ghostface on it.
Well, Ghostface is your baby.
I love it. Well, yeah, Ghostface is a lot to me, okay?
What a kawaii gentleman.
Well, Ghostface could be whatever they want to be.
That's true.
We've had Lady Ghostfaces.
I love Lady Ghostfaces. I'm all about Ghostface being the best non-binary being on this planet.
Honestly, I just really, I saw a meme once. It's like, oh, what are you? A serial killer, but what's in your pants? A knife.
A knife.
And it's Ghostface.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, honestly, same.
I mean, fair. I mean, if I cannot be absolutely fucking feral and knife toting, I'm not happy.
Honestly, valid.
I'm not.
Valid.
But like, do you guys understand? Like in my research, because everybody knows that the knowledge bomb that is Jade loves doing deep dives, especially if you give me a topic that I'm interested in.
Yes.
And Scarlett gave me a topic that I am very interested in, and that is this whole, queer coding in horror. And I'm sitting there like, no way. I mean, yeah, you get the occasional like lesbian or whatever in a film, but most of it's just slash and hack and whatever, right? I was so fucking wrong. I was like, what? My entire viewpoint just gone. Gone. Do you know, like, the earliest form of queer coding that is on film is in the, what is it? I think it was 1931 that this came out, is Nosferatu.
Nosferatu was pretty early, but yeah, I think in your research you were saying that the director of that movie was an openly gay man.
Yes, he was.
And
He made it to the point that, and this is a very well-known stereotype, I guess, for lack of a better word, vampires are inherently gay.
Yeah, we could even go off about the lesbian vampire trope.
They are naturally queer.
Yeah.
Yes, but no, vampires are inherently queer. Sorry, not sorry. The lesbian vampire trope, you have Carmilla.
Love
who is,
Carmilla.
associated with seducing women.
Yep.
There is a movie, Dracula's Daughter, where, sequel to the Dracula, Universal's Dracula, with Bela Lugosi in it.
The original Elizabeth Bathory.
Yep.
She did it to women.
Oh, yeah. You can't tell me she wasn't into women.
Oh,
She like sacrificing them.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, the big thing with vampires is the idea of them, especially in Bram Stoker's original Dracula.
Which Nosferatu was based on.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's very heavily based on otherness. I actually wrote a thesis on Dracula and how Dracula is actually, in my opinion, made to be a comedy, making fun of the stereotypes of the time. So Bram Stoker was basically, in his writing as a Scotsman, who was then living in England, was talking about the stereotyping of Eastern Europeans. And that's where a lot of the visual look of Dracula came from. Ooh, and he was making fun of how the English viewed other Europeans, that there were monsters and there were this and there were that. So it only makes sense for queerness to be so embedded, especially in a character who represents otherness.
Yeah.
It's true. Like, articulating this skeleton plot in a film of a genre isn't necessarily hard to do.
Right.
you've got the unsuspecting group of innocent people terrorized by a dark force or a monster, or until the goodness comes, undoubtedly prevails. Sometimes it fucking don't.
Yeah.
It happens.
I like it better when it don't.
I do too.
It's more fun.
I do too.
Yeah.
The trope of evil can honestly go between monster, demon, mentally deranged. You know, that's just like how, that's your baseline of all horror. And then it goes on to continue. All of these characters have in common is the fear that they instill in their victims. And it is solely based on their differences.
Yeah.
Like, solely. So, like, honestly, literally, that can be a little different. And, you know, that means it can't be likable, right? At all. But here's the thing. How is that not a queer person dealing in a heteronormative world?
Correct.
Exactly is. And I think that's why a lot of us tend to gravitate towards, you know, like a lot of these, like, characters are like, you know, the villains in horror.
Yep.
I agree. And why a lot of queer creators tend to gravitate towards the horror genre and find their niche there. Because there's so much more creative freedom for them to tell their stories.
Little pig.
Without feeling
Let me in.
pressured into a certain box, especially in big studio production film.
Yeah.
So, did you guys ever hear of what is known as the Hollywood Production Code?
I feel it. I don't know if I've heard of this one specifically, but I was this in like I want to say the 50s or 60s where there were like certain
the
rules governing
decency
like
laws.
what you were allowed to do. Yeah.
So
That's actually where I think that's where bury your gays trope comes from.
these
among other
were
things.
moral guidelines as to what could be shown on screen. Any kind of queer or same-sex representation was forbidden.
Yeah.
This ended in 1968.
Yes.
It can be said that many directors from this era used their monsters as a metaphor for their own quote-unquote perversions. And that is why we got the introduction to villainous queers.
Yeah.
Because of that code.
Yeah. And I know another one is and I know around the same time period it was, you know, in another code that if you were to have a same-sex, you know, relationship portrayed, one or both of those people in the relationship would have to die by the end to show that it was bad and wrong.
Yep.
That's why you got a lot of like, that's where the bury your gays trope comes from.
Emotional,
That's why you have a lot
damn
of
it.
the, like lesbian pulp novels.
Yep.
Where I saw a creator on YouTube review one of them, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was basically like, it had like Satan on the cover of it. It's like, it's crazy. Like, yo, this book was fucking wild, but it was basically an excuse to write heavy duty, like, lesbian porn. No, that's literally, like, not just this book, but there were others in that genre that were just, you know, basically people would just use it to write lesbian porn.
Yeah.
And they were allowed to get it published as long as
One of them died.
one or both of them die at the end.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Those were the morality codes, I believe.
Yeah.
When they were putting that all into effect.
Yeah.
No, you're
And it-
absolutely correct.
Yeah, and it affected, you know, it was in movies and shows as well. It was in a lot.
So basically, it's saying here that while the production code did collapse, like I said, I was doing my research. This is what I found. That is not to say an influx of LGBTQ characters were inundating the big screen, because they were not. They oftentimes, if someone exhibited any sort of queer quality, they were imperviously killed off, to say what you just said.
Yes.
Alternatively, the queer of the situation often ended up being a suspect, if not the actual killer.
Right.
So basically, they're saying that, like, it's always going, like, back then it was stigmatized and just considered evil and wrong, so why not make the thing that is evil and wrong the villain?
I mean, you just reminded me of Psycho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Psycho.
Yeah. And,
Norman Bates.
Yeah, Norman Bates in
Classic.
Psycho, where, you know, he dresses up as
His mother.
his mother and kills people. And
You can't tell me he's repressed.
yeah, well, he also had like other, like, they tried to say like it was multiple personalities or there was
Meh.
a lot, you know, but then again, like like the terms and stuff they used in the 60s is not what we would use now.
Yeah,
and
no,
I think that's something that we also have to keep in mind while we talk about, you know, like horror through just horror and also media through the ages. And
Agreed.
Agreed. And
Agreed, because they say that Stoker was actually probably repressed.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, he was already in the type of situation where just ethnically he was constantly othered because of his situation.
Well, yeah, he was in an almost sexless marriage, and he had this extreme adoration of his male friends.
Oh, yes.
Walt Whitman, Henry Irving, and Hall Caine.
The letters.
So, like, they're saying that Count Dracula was speculated to be a manifestation of his repressed feelings.
That makes sense. Like, a lot of Stoker's writing is very heavily implied to represent otherness, but also, in my opinion, based in a comedic sense, because everything he writes about Dracula is over-exaggerated, because it's told through letters from different characters in the novel, like Van Helsing. So a lot of it is done so that it's so over-exaggerated that I usually tell people that I personally believe Dracula's a comedy. But, you know, that takes anybody's personal reading. Like, you'd have to sit there and think about it for yourself, because I read it so many times, I viewed it as a comedy at that point, just surrounding what was going on in his life.
That makes sense.
That would make sense.
But, like, the thing is with vampires especially, and this is why everybody always romanticizes a vampire, even as far back as Nosferatu. How is that not like Count Dracula's supposed curse? Like, if you are made to feel like your feelings, which are natural, are dirty and ugly and just wrong, how are you not going to feel cursed?
Right.
Which is why queers identify with vampires so easily.
And also that struggle to find, you know, real love.
real love.
Community.
Community.
Exactly.
Absolutely correct. And the funny thing is Nosferatu is obviously an adaptation of Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah.
But the director, F.W. Murnau, was an openly gay man. And he was just like, nah, Nosferatu's gay, bro. Like, sacre bleu, he was gay. You know, because, like, he was French, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm being an asshole. But, like, other monsters, especially if they're inhuman or deformed, can also blame their misfortunes on their own decisions, i.e. being queer. But not all queers are always stuck being bad guys.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what it is. It's like, no matter what, you're basically fucked.
Yeah.
As a queer in any type of horror genre.
Yeah.
Really.
I would-
Originally.
it's-
Originally.
it's got,
I
you
would
know,
say that.
Yeah, originally, yeah. It's gotten a lot better now.
Oh, yeah. For sure. I mean, like, we can even, like, I'm talking about, like, these, you even go back to the next movie that I want to talk about with you guys in my research, because I know you guys are more nouveau horror.
Oh,
I'm classic horror.
Oh, yeah.
Fair.
So,
I'm a 80s, 90s horror.
Yeah.
Give me a slasher.
see me, I enjoy 60s horror. I enjoy
60s horror is fun.
50s horror because it's so cheesy.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways that you're just like, oh, it's so bad. I can't look away.
See, I like 80s horror because it's cheesy
That
and
too.
schlocky. I love cheesy, schlocky 80s horror. Listen,
Yes. It's the best.
Also,
B
also,
film
not to
movies
be,
are
like,
fucking great.
gross and not to be gross, but also like the bisexuality is shown again. When I get to see like schlocky 80s horror and just titties everywhere.
What did he say?
Also, shouting out to the best Halloween Horror Nights house at Universal Orlando is literally slasher cinema.
Titties?
Titties. And it's all like very like horror B movie. And it's so much fun. And they're finally bringing it back this year.
Yes!
I'm so hyped. But because they've done,
love to.
please, I would love to go. I haven't gone in 2 years. I would love to go again. But
Figure it out.
I think that's a really good point, because you take a genre like horror and then you see how modern artists have redone it. And something I would love to talk about later this episode is In the Flesh, which I think is one of the greatest pieces of like modern horror storytelling, like monster flick. Well, it was a series, but monster flick like storytelling around the zombie genre and queerness. And it was awesome. But I know that we wanted to talk about a specific early film, Jade.
1963's The Haunting, where there is huge lesbianic undertones in the friendship between Nell and Theo. Which,
Yes.
The Haunting is actually, that movie spawned a lot of the modern stuff that we
Yep.
watch now. Like
Haunting of Hill House.
Haunting on Hill House. The remake, The Haunting.
Oh yeah, that was a movie. Yeah,
So it's
my
interesting
parents liked that movie. I never actually saw it.
because in The Haunting of Hill House,
Great
Theo,
series, by the way.
wonderful. It
I saw
quite literally is.
I saw a few episodes of Hill House.
You
It's
would
wonderful.
really, it's beautiful.
It's one of my all-time favorites. It's very much
Excellently
in the
done.
horror storytelling that I prefer. I'm admittedly a big like ghost paranormal horror person.
You are.
But I will say this. It's actually interesting that Theo is a woman in The Haunting movie because Theo is a guy in The Haunting of Hill House. I admittedly have not read the original book, so I can't speak for the original book. But in the Haunting of Hill House, how they presented it was Theo is Nell's twin brother.
Yeah, that's not how it was in the original.
Yeah, I don't think so from what you were saying.
No, in the original, Nell is coy and sheltered, while Theo is flamboyant and unabashed. Their initial common connection as to where they are on a famed haunted hill house is their separate encounters with the paranormal. Nell experiences a poltergeist when she was younger, and Theo has psychic abilities. As the film progresses, their friendship and bond becomes strong, and many have speculated that it has gone beyond just drinking tea with each other. Part of the theory is how Nell slowly starts to lose her mind. While there are obvious paranormal activities taking place in the home, she becomes paranoid of Theo and accuses her of being the cause of the evil. In a fit of anxiety and fear, Nell tries to escape the house in a car, but ends up meeting her end in a crash against a tree.
Damn.
While not necessarily pitted as the root of evil, watching this character development shows you how taboo it was to begin to understand your queerness. Nell was a simple and mild girl, while Theo was super proud of her independence and rejection of needing a man. The way that the picture is painted is that the impression Theo has on Nell is a fatal one. Coming from, growing up, knowing different people, different genres, and all sorts of different ways of life, and myself coming out very early on as a bisexual woman, that is really a big thing because for years I kept my bisexualness silent.
Yeah.
I didn't talk about it. I never bragged about my girlfriends, never bragged, to my boyfriends that I was bi. So very, much like Nell. But then as I got more comfortable with who I am and what I want to be and all the things about me, I became more like Theo, where I was just like, fuck your couch. I don't need your dick. I'll go get a vagina. Dead ass. So, yeah. But, this was, they say, is the beginning of when queers became to get a lot more prominent in films, because 5 years later, the Hollywood Code collapsed, and you didn't need to do that anymore. So one of the other things that they talk about is a film called The Hunger by Tony Scott. And that flaunted the fluidity of sexuality as one of the central themes amongst all the immortal characters.
Very similar to Rocky Horror Picture Show, because that's a huge part of the crux. Granted, I'm a big Rocky Horror Picture Show
All three of us are.
I love Rocky Horror.
I miss doing Shadowcast. I used to do it. I used to love doing Janet. Columbia was a big one I used to do. I don't know why they let me do it. I think it was just because I was small and sprightly, not because I could dance. But that is such a huge part of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, is that making fun of that idea that you brought up with The Hunger, where the fluidity of sexuality is part of the evil. And it's so fun to see characters like Tim Curry just immaculate as Frankenfurter. And he even said this once in an interview. He was like, the great thing about Frank is when Frank steps away, Frank sees nothing he's done or they've done as wrong. Frank steps away and goes, I was just exploring. I was just playing around. For Frank, it's all for fun.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like the Rocky Horror Picture Show has had such a pulse on the queer community.
Hey, baby.
Because it's really making light and making fun of this idea of sexuality being the great evil.
There's a song in it, I'm just a sweet transvestite from Transylvania.
Exactly.
Hello.
It really just sits there and goes, you know what? I don't give a fuck.
I mean, can we also just acknowledge how Frankenfurter has been that trans awakening for a lot of people?
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I know this wasn't I know this adaptation of the Rocky Horror Picture Show did not go over very well, but God, I can't remember who what was the channel or the studio that did it, but the
20th Century Fox.
Yeah, but Laverne.
That's where their first mistake.
Yeah, Laverne Cox played Frankenfurter, and I think for all intents and purposes, she did a pretty good job.
She was the best part of that whole thing.
She was the best part of the movie, but also just seeing her talk about the role, about how honored she was to do the role, how seeing Frankenfurter for her growing up helped her realize, that she was trans, and how much it means to her to take on this role. Like that was moving. That is so important.
Right, and everybody forgets that literally that while Rocky Horror is a musical, it is still a horror film.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In a lot of ways. It is still considered a horror film. It is still in the horror musical genre, but it is a horror film.
I mean,
And
how
I
does
would
everyone
like-
feel about Meatloaf?
I mean,
Yeah. And I was about to say, there are plenty of queer horror musicals. Like Rocky Horror Picture Show is one of many. One of my personal favorites is American Psycho, the musical. Very short-lived, but one of my all-time favorites.
I mean, since we've gotten to the 80s, we should talk about some of our favorite 80s films. Correct? I think we should.
Yeah.
And we should talk about what is literally across the board known as quite possibly the gayest horror film of all time.
Please say what I'm hoping you're going to say.
Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's
Oh,
Revenge.
yes.
That is so gay.
Freddy's Revenge is just the best thing that was ever created by mankind.
It is revered as the gayest slasher film of all
it
time.
is.
I am doing a rewatch for that one.
Bro, you got
saw
it.
I saw it once, and I was like, so I watched it immediately after watching the first one, and I was kind of like, what is this? Like,
Yeah.
but also, like, the hands turned me off. I didn't like it. I didn't like how his, like, the nails.
The nails.
Yeah, that was weird.
That's fine. So the film
movie
basically,
was gay,
if you've been living under a rock for the last 40 years and you've never seen Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, the film follows Jesse, who's played by a then closeted gay actor Mark Patton, who recently moves into Nancy's old house where Freddy Krueger first made his debut. Freddy visits Jesse in his dreams and begins to manipulate him into carrying out his deadly wishes. The story can then be compared to that of Nell's story in The Haunting, believe it or not. So the more Freddy uses Jesse, the more repellent to heteronormalcies Jesse grows. In one scene, he begins to kiss his love interest, Lisa, but actually becomes so physically convulsed that he runs and escapes into his often shirtless best friend, Grady.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the most iconic scenes in which Freddy is taking over Jesse's body, Jesse exclaims, "Something is trying to get inside my body." And it may not seem like much, but remember, it was the 80s. And many years later, Chaskin, who wrote the movie, admitted that he purposely integrated the subtextual homoeroticism. It was the height of the AIDS crisis and homophobia was rampant. He thought that putting those undertones into the film would have a ripple effect given his audience was mostly teen boys. And even though the queer nature wasn't originally admitted, the film gave a very exploitative perspective. So, literally, again, openly admitting queer. Hello,
Yes.
McFly.
No, it's very kind of like, even though not a horror film, we're talking about Beauty and the Beast.
Queer.
Very gay film.
Le Fou.
And so much of it was around the Beast, actually. Because the height of the AIDS crisis, so much of it was about becoming this monster to others and everyone viewing you as this atrocity to nature. And that's what they were trying to convey when they created Beauty and the Beast. And that's one of those things that I think horror captures very perfectly.
Well, I mean, Scarlett, you mentioned earlier a bunch of other films that are not just from the 80s,
Yes.
that are also very, very queer coded.
Oh, yes.
What are they?
I mean, I also thought of another one while we were like here. Hellraiser.
Yeah.
Oh,
Clive
yes.
Barker is an openly gay man.
Yep.
I'll speak of Hellraiser. Even the reboot, I don't know. The new one they made, also
Great.
very queer coded. You literally have a trans woman, Jamie Clayton was her
Jamie
name?
Clayton.
Jamie Clayton played Pinhead. Fucking phenomenal. She did amazing. 10 out of 10.
Yep.
Chucky, just as a franchise.
Oh,
Child's
fuck
Play
yeah.
Chucky. Again, Don Mancini, another openly gay man. Is
And the
This
best
is
part
fucking
is
gay.
all of these were in the 80s.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see, and then little sleepaway camp is unintentionally very queer. Again, definitely the kind of thing probably not intended to be that way, definitely the kind of thing that you would look back at now with like today's standards and optics and like be like,
I mean, considering how most of these writers and directors are now admitting that,
Yeah.
no, we did want it to be that way, I would not be surprised if it was.
right. And then also like the other thing is like, for better or for worse, a lot of things kind of had to be thrown in more for like, even if you wanted things to be like inherently queer, you kind of had to do it in more of like a shock value way in order to like be allowed to do it.
Boo!
Like it had to be shock value. It couldn't just be like, oh yeah, by the way, we're queer.
Hey, by the way, I like cocks.
God damn.
Right.
That's
like,
not. That's
Let's
not
go,
shock.
lesbians. Let's go.
Yeah. And then like,
My personal favorite.
and then of course Jennifer's body.
Yes, I am actually.
You two are obsessed with that film.
I am.
I mean,
obsessed
Megan
with Jennifer's
Fox.
body. I mean, there's that. Megan Fox is a beautiful, beautiful one. We also love you here, Megan Fox at
Also,
the gate.
Amanda Seyfried. We cannot.
Amanda
We
Seyfried.
cannot. Wait, I'm sorry. I think it took like 2 trailers to be released for them to actually acknowledge Amanda Seyfried was in the fucking movie.
So I always like to say that Jennifer's Body was the perfect movie, but was targeted for the wrong audience.
I mean, the marketing was Megan Fox hot, which
Exactly,
is correct,
which
but you should have
true.
but you should have tried to market it towards women as Megan Fox hot.
Because honestly, it's very much like a feminine rage film.
Oh, it is.
And so much of it surrounds this idea of Jennifer's character being this hot, beautiful woman.
Yeah.
Basically being turned into a succubus because she's primarily raped and murdered
Yeah.
by a band of men that just want to be famous.
By a literal band.
Literal band.
And I don't want to say it's funny in the ironic sense, because when I was watching that movie with my now husband Cam, he was in the Long Island music scene during the time that movie came out, and he was like, listen, I've never heard of anything that extreme happening, but shit like that did happen, where like these scummy band dudes would be picking up underage girls and would be doing things with them of a predatory nature. No one that he specifically hung out with, but like, you know, these things did happen. I mean, fucking brand new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so much of that surrounding is that they assume that she's a virgin. So that's how she becomes a succubus, because they go to sacrifice her and she's obviously not a virgin. And it becomes a source of power for Jennifer.
I was going to
And it's so intriguing to see how her personal confidence kind of grows in being able to eat men.
Yes.
I love this for her.
Nom 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 nom.
Interesting. It's also interesting. Like, I feel like this could also be a topic for another episode, where like just a broader commentary on female sexuality in horror. How a lot of time, like in earlier horror, especially in slashers, it was something to be punished. But then you have Jennifer's Body, where Jennifer's sexuality is the source of her power.
Yeah.
But you know, like, anyway, to kind of like steer a little more back to the topic, queer representation in horror, Jennifer's Body. The fucking vibe, like, you literally have Amanda Seyfried and Megan Fox, Jennifer and Needy kissing
In the movie.
in the
Hello.
movie.
You
They
can't
literally-
tell me they weren't lesbian lovers.
Oh, no, they were gay as hell.
It's
Like-
to me anyway. I feel like it's pretty obvious from the very start of the movie.
Oh yeah, I mean, just think of it like this. Jennifer has no interest in having a like steady boyfriend. Like, sure, she fucks around. I mean, I definitely read her as being bisexual.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of read them both as being bisexual, but I'm also biased. I'm bi. That's kind of my default for everyone until like
Proven otherwise.
exactly. Everyone's bi until proven otherwise.
Plus, Jennifer says, "I go both ways."
Well, yeah, that's true. So she literally an actual line of dialogue. I thought you only killed boys.
I go both ways.
I go both ways.
I
I love her. But yeah, but it's also interesting how she specifically goes after boys that show interest in Needy.
Oh yes.
That's jealousy, honey.
Oh yes,
And
it
you can,
is.
I mean, sure, you can read it as she's jealous that Needy's getting attention, but she's jealous. She's jealous that Needy is giving attention to boys and not to her.
Not interested.
I also think it is very much even hammered home to the end of the movie. Like, spoiler alert for nobody that's seen it, but I think it's very meaningful and impactful that even though Needy is the one that needs to kill Jennifer, her next move is to go and kill the men that did this to Jennifer.
Exactly.
It's not a matter of Jennifer was the source of evil. She never views Jennifer as a source of evil, which I think is very meaningful in that queer reading of Jennifer's body. She realizes that the true root of evil is low shoulder. And you get that wonderful post-credit sequence of seeing all the bloody photographs of low shoulder being brutally murdered by Amanda Seyfried.
Yep. They get murdered. I think. Well, I want to say it's Violet by Hole is playing.
Yep.
And I'm just like, amazing.
Incredible.
But also missed opportunity. You could have used the song Jennifer's Body, but okay, that would have been too on the nose.
It probably would have been.
I know. I'm into that though.
No, that's fair. I mean, speaking of on the nose, I am wearing my Jennifer's Body friendship necklace today.
And I'm so mad that I didn't think to wear mine.
Yeah, I can't believe you did this to me.
We always do. We never wear it at the same time.
But no, I think it's so important to have characters like Jennifer and Needy. And like, while you can also read it as like toxic friendship, toxic, like just over-reliance and using somebody else as a source of just your own personal acceptance, like radical acceptance of yourself.
Yeah. And definitely, like, you know, you said before, a feminine rage movie. Like, Jennifer's Body, I will say personally, is one of those movies that I can just watch at I could watch it at any point in my life and come out with a different reading or a different interpretation, like, depending on what I am personally going
Agreed.
through. That's fair. I think that's, like, what makes it such a great movie. Plus, some of the fucking dialogue is just... I'm sorry, not to be like too graphic, so cover your ears. But my favorite, one of the best fucking lines in that movie is, "Got a tampon? Figured I'd ask. You seem like you might be plugging."
It really was just marketed to the wrong people, and I love that Jennifer's Body has been able to live on as just like a cult classic, and I feel like only recently being appreciated for the beautiful piece of queer cinema that it is.
I think especially queer women, is where it's starting to find.
I mean, we're also talking about a film that embodies feminine rage.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
I mean, if there's not one thing that all three of us, and as well as our many female and female presenting people out there that listen to us, follow us, and are friends with us, feel a lot more than usual lately. Yeah. Just not so much, but we're being nice. You're lying! Okay. I am. But no, Jennifer's Body was, I've seen it. It was not one of my favorite films, but it was just fucking great. Yeah. It was just fucking great. Like, it's one of those films that you sit there and you're just like, good for her. Yep. Good for her.
I wouldn't have stopped her.
She needed that. That's good for her.
See, the only unrealistic thing about that movie is that, my favorite meme is like, the unrealistic thing is Needy not helping her out killing people.
Honestly, even more unrealistic, me not like supporting Jennifer as she was doing this. I'd be like,
literally,
you know what? Go ahead, girl.
I'd be like, honey, no, don't waste your time on this guy. He didn't do shit. Go after this one instead.
What? I'd literally be sitting, like, my favorite line of the movie is what's always quoted the most. It's like, you're killing people. No, I'm killing boys.
I love that line.
And I'm just sitting there going, good for you. That's right. You do that. That's right. Do it. What? That's right.
Yes.
Because seriously, they all deserve it. Because this is why we choose the bear. Dude, King Julian chose the bear.
Wait.
I like to move it.
That
He likes to move it. He chose the fucking bear. So what does that say now? He chose the bear. Okay?
Wild.
A fucking king cartoon lemur would rather have a bear. I rest my case.
I mean, bears are nice.
They do seem very cuddly. Also, bears won't tell you that it's your clothing that is the reason that you were put into a bad situation.
If you get attacked by a bear, at least you have a physical scar.
Exactly.
Hi, Georgie.
And at least it was because they were scared and hungry.
I hate you.
Hate it.
Hate.
So
hate.
we
Double hate.
brushed on Chucky,
Yes.
but we didn't go into detail.
Oh,
Let us open that Pandora's box.
Chucky.
Chucky.
I mean, just from the inception alone, okay? Hi, let's have a fucking doll run around and kill people. Oh my god. And this man puts his soul in a fucking doll using the power of voodoo. Like
Power of voodoo?
hoodoo?
Voodoo.
Do what?
Power of Chucky.
Actually, shit, you just reminded me I have the fucking Labyrinth soundtrack on vinyl that I have to bust out.
As you should.
Oh, yes, you should.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah. That's a newer one though. But anyway,
Either way.
back on topic.
topic.
But yeah, Chucky is gay as fuck. All right. Like
Don Mancini.
Don Mancini,
Very gay.
openly gay man.
Openly gay.
And he, like, I mean, I'm trying to think, where do we even go? Like, Bride of Chucky, I feel like is really where things got, like, you really get to see a lot of.
Are you going to really sit there and tell me that Jennifer Tilly didn't awaken things in you?
Of course she awakened things in me.
Hello.
Listen, someone once told me I gave Jennifer Tilly vibes, and I'm just like,
That is an honor, sir.
that is an honor.
Somebody told me I actually sound like her once.
Okay, that's amazing.
I love
that for
this.
you.
Because
Honestly, Chucky, I really can sound like Jennifer Tilly.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, Chucky, we promised we wouldn't do any more killing. Chucky, please. We have a daughter to think about, Chucky.
But yeah,
tell me that's not a dead-on fucking ring.
That was spot on.
Thank
that was spot
you.
on. But I mean, like, again,
Gigi.
the first. Well, I was gonna say,
I
Jennifer
love
Tilly though, like the
Gigi.
first love interest you see, aside from Chucky that she's interested in is played by Alexis Arquette, who
Yep.
is a trans actor or trans
Hello.
actress, or was a trans actress. I think she passed away. But yeah,
I think she did too. I'm not sure. We'll have to research that.
yeah, I'm pretty sure she passed away though a few years back. But yeah, so she's like, Tiffany, Jennifer Tilly's character, which now it's kind of like both because of the Chucky TV series.
yeah.
Yeah, which the Chucky TV series is canon.
Canon.
I love this for
The
them.
So
Chucky
good.
TV series also said, "Oh, you guys don't really like Seed of Chucky? Fuck you. That's even more canon now."
Exactly. And Seed of Chucky literally
Chucky-
explores fucking not only just non-binaryism, trans and fucking gay, like in a doll.
Exactly, and it's really cool. So what they do with Seed of Chucky leading to the Chucky TV series, so you had Glenn / Glenda, who went
Gigi.
Yeah, now they're Gigi. But I think they were one doll, Gigi. Then when they became human, that soul was split in two.
Because it was already in two.
Yes, so they became two people, Glenn and Glenda, and they're both non-binary.
Yep.
They were both played by the same non-binary actor,
Yup.
who did an amazing job, by the way.
Agreed.
And they featured heavily on the second season of the show. Now, I'm not sure if in the first season they already established this because they were using they them pronouns for the character.
Yep.
Yeah.
And also the main character of Chucky, Jake. The main character of Chucky, his name is Jake. He's gay. He's gay, and also his love interest Devin, obviously also gay. They've been a couple since the first season. Just wrapped season 3, still going strong. As a couple, well, the ending is the ending, but not going there. But they're still going strong as a couple. But like. Chucky straight up is like, yeah, I don't have obviously, like, I'm cool with you being gay. I'm not a monster. My kid is gender fluid.
And I just love how surprised he is by that in that scene. He's like,
It's like, I'm not a monster, Jake. It's like, you murder people. You kind of are, though.
Un poquito más.
not a monster, Jake.
That was also, I'm sorry, but.
That is one of my favorite scenes ever.
No, I mean, like, seriously, we're talking about an entire genre. Yeah. Like, this Chucky had, 4 films? Or 5?
No, hold on. There's 3 Child's Play. Then there's Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, Curse of Chucky, Cult of Chucky.
So 7.
7, not including the reboot, which we're not counting the reboot.
It's literally
I mean,
not
we
even the
could.
same film. Like,
It's unrelated.
All right, so then
It's
it's
too
still
different.
It's in the realm not of the genre.
Yes, and
Fair.
then you have 3 seasons of a TV show,
Right.
Which was also really cool because for the first season, I watched a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff with Don Mancini, and he was saying that, especially with the building relationship between Jake and Devin, like, for example, their first kiss, he's like, look, this is the first kiss that I wish I got to have. Like, a lot of it was, like, a lot of the stuff he gave these characters are experiences and, the way that a relationship was able to build that he wished that he was able to experience back in the day. So it was kind of, in a way, it was kind of sweet. It's like, hey, he's giving us the representation that he never got to see.
That's amazing.
And like that's again why it's also so important that we have queer people behind the camera, just as important as it is featured on screen.
Agreed. And again, we mentioned this before in queer representation. Our episode back in May. We're not sitting here screaming, you need to give us the table. We just want a seat at it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
and
we don't need to, we just want some of the green beans.
correct.
That's all.
Just
Can
want
we have
some of them.
just a little bit of the mashed potatoes and gravy? Set.
Yeah.
We ain't sitting here saying we want to carve the turkey. Fucking Christ. The fuck?
I just realized I don't think I ever finished my Gigi tangent.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Please
That's okay.
finish your Gigi
anyway,
tangent.
So basically, Glenn, so Gigi as the doll, Glenn and Glenda, both non-binary as people, and then at the end of the second season, both souls became one. They went back to being in the doll, and they decided to go by GG for Glenn and Glenda. So they are now a doll, just fucking
Doing their thing.
exactly. Doing their thing, having a great time. I think they're voiced by Billy Boyd again.
As they should be.
Which I love this for them. But yeah, they're having a great time. Jennifer Tilly / Tiffany, because, because Seed of Chucky, it's Tiffany and Jennifer Tilly's body. And it's, I just think it's really funny because sometimes she'll introduce herself as Tiffany. It's like, oh, you look just like Jennifer Tilly. And then other times it's like, yes, I'm actually Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah.
But,
We love this for Jennifer
yeah.
Tilly.
So, but yeah, no, Jennifer Tilly, her character is bisexual as hell. Like, Tiffany is bi as hell. She was fully, whether Nika wanted it or not, in that relationship with Nika. And also, like, season 3, she was definitely putting the Mac on some of those girls in prison. Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. It's true. I mean, so...
Also Bound. Unrelated, but Bound.
Yeah. But, like, we've basically covered a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of movies. Like, are there any honorable mentions that you guys have?
I do want to mention In the Flesh again for a couple of reasons. I think one, it's the best reinvention of the zombie genre that I've seen in recent years. So if you're really looking for something that's different and unique, that's the spot. I mean, I literally own every single episode from the BBC on DVD. But also, it is one of the very few pieces of queer media that I've ever seen where the character openly comes out as pansexual.
Hell yeah.
And I know everybody says Schitt's Creek, but this came way before Schitt's Creek. Like, this was like at least 5 to 6 years before Schitt's Creek.
There you go.
And honestly, it's such a great show. It's very heavy trigger wise. So I will give a trigger warning for it. Like, definitely do a little research into it if you're concerned if something might trigger you, because it did come out like when I was in high school. So it had to be around like 2014. So it was 2014-ish. So like this was before they were like posting trigger warnings on things. So I will say that definitely look into the context, but you get not only an openly pansexual character, but you also get a wonderful relationship for him that gets to be built within the second season. And it's beautiful to see within a heavily horror specific genre.
So to continue with your zombie trope, I'll bring up the 2008 film Otto, or Up with the Dead People, directed by Bruce LaBruce.
Okay.
This story revolves around Otto, a young neo-goth zombie, and his current identity crisis. He answers a casting call for an avant-garde tale about gay zombies called Up with the Dead People. As filming continues, you start to see the remnants of Otto's past with his human ex-boyfriend. It's a pretty wacky tale, but for the first time delves more deeply into the mind of the supposed evil. Throughout the film, you start to recognize Otto's dead condition as a reaction to his very recent depression concerning his boyfriend. It's like a circle fully traveled in the evolution of film. While in earlier cinema, queerness was subversive and metaphorical, today we get to play with the subject in a more outward way. So, highly recommend Otto or Up with the Dead People if that's your thing, if you like zombies. Apparently, it is filled with corn syrup.
Fun.
Yeah, it's funny. It's
Yeah.
it's a funny horror film.
Yes.
which I like, honestly. I love my thing is I love slashers and I love funny horror.
I do love me some funny horror.
Like Freddy was always my favorite character.
See, I love Freddy because he's
love
funny.
Freddy.
But also in a similar vein to Freddy, also by Wes Craven, I love Scream.
I love
I was waiting for you to bring that up. I
love
was like,
Scream.
bitch, what are we
Listen,
waiting for?
Kevin Williamson, who wrote Scream, and he wrote a couple of the other ones also. He's also directing Scream 7, which is being made right now. He wrote Scream. Billy and Stu are fucking gay.
Oh, yes, they are.
They even said it.
The actors literally refer to themselves as the original horror husbands. Okay.
Hello.
Also, I'm sorry. These two dudes are way too obsessed with killing their girlfriend, so they can like run off and be together for them not to be fucking gay.
For
I
real.
saw a meme on Tumblr, which I still go on there sometimes. It's
Who
mostly for porn.
doesn't? It's
Mostly
okay.
for porn. It's fine. But it's like, hey fellas, what's more gay? Taking a dick up the ass or whatever these two have going on. It's Billy and Stu from Scream.
I mean, come on. Hello.
I know that's a very crass way to put it, but that's literally what this meme said.
I don't think it's crass at all.
Yeah, no, but like,
But no, I've literally been waiting for you to bring Scream
know,
up
'cause
the
I
entire
love
night.
Scream.
I wanted to close out this episode with Scream.
yes, 'Cause
Like
it's very-
we're going on what, 8 Scream films now?
7.
7. We just had 7.
We just had 6, so they're working.
We're
They're
gonna get
making the
7.
We're
7th
gonna
one
get
right now.
we're gonna get 7.
We're gonna get 7.
And honestly, I'm sorry, you cannot tell me that film just doesn't keep getting gayer with every incarnation.
Oh yeah.
Oh, fuck off! It totally does.
I mean, we literally had theater in the second one,
Hello.
which I really like. Which also, I mean, we literally have Mindy in Scream 5 and 6, she is Randy's niece from the first movie. She's gay. She's a lesbian.
Fully proud.
Yeah. Out and proud. She has a girlfriend in the 6th movie. Unfortunately, that does not end very well. R.I.P. The movie's been out for over a year now, so if you haven't seen it, I'm sorry.
that's your problem.
Yeah, exactly. But she survives. She makes it. Good job, Mindy. But yeah, like it's also fun seeing Mindy as take over that like Randy role.
Yeah.
As the like the horror expert, the like you got to know the rules, like that. There's definitely a name for that character trope, but my brain is just like not computing. But she's really great. I do enjoy the act. Like I can't remember the actress' name, but she's doing great in that role. I love it. Would love to see more of her. I don't know if we're gonna get more of her though, because from what I've heard about the new one, it's gonna be more Sydney focused again. Ugh. I mean, listen, Sydney Prescott is my Lord and Savior. I love her.
I love Neve Campbell.
Speaking of Neve Campbell, let's talk about The Craft and how there was definitely some lesbian undertones in that one.
My favorite movie of all time.
I love The Craft.
That's another one.
Considering I got to meet a few years ago at Monster Mania, before it became trash. I was supposed to meet the original, all 4 of them, but Fairuza Balk does not travel by plane. She drives.
Okay.
And she got stuck in a snowstorm in the Midwest and couldn't make it. But I got to meet all 3 of them. I got to meet Robin and Nev and
Oh my God.
I'm taller than all of them.
If I could meet Fairuza Balk, like
She's on my bucket list. Like, 'cause she's the only one I have met.
let me know. Let me know when.
Bitch, we're doing it.
We're doing it. Listen,
Like, it's on like Donkey Kong.
Fairuza Balk and Jennifer Tilly are people that people will tell me I look like.
I will get down on my knees in front of Jennifer Tilly and say, "Step on me,"
Same.
because, please. But
Yes.
you can't tell me that literally the reason why Sarah gets her shit fucked is because the other 3 wanted to fuck her.
Oh, especially Nancy.
Like Nancy wanted to like lick it and quit it. I don't fucking care. Like she wanted
to get in that.
Sorry? I can't believe he said he's sorry. Like, okay, well then why are you so mad that she doesn't want to be friends with you anymore, brah?
It's like, why are you so mad she want that dick?
Why are you so mad she'd rather have your boyfriend? Which, oh, by the way, who's that played by?
Skeet already.
Oh, Skeet.
Yo, I'd climb that man.
Skeet.
I'm more
I'd
of a
climb
Matt Lillard girly.
I love him, but he's I feel like he's like my weird uncle. I can't do it. I can't do it.
we met Matt Lillard.
Oh,
We did.
yes,
and
we
you
have.
literally clung to him.
And he let me.
And he
I
let
know
you.
that was adorable.
He is.
And
the
at
fucking
first,
man.
I
would
like
meet him
didn't
again.
want to hug him too tight because I didn't want to be like weird. So I was, and he knew I was holding back, and he was like, "Just hug me, it's okay."
Yeah, absolute gem of a man.
Everything you hear about him is just wholesome.
Just everything about him is wholesome.
And he's a nerd.
I know.
I love this for us.
Okay, like speaking of just Matthew Lillard and Skeet and being nerds, that clip from
it is my favorite.
you know where it's like, hey, so basically they were at like a convention or something and
Doing a panel.
doing a panel, and like someone in the audience, they're doing audience questions, and someone asks, hey, did he ever apologize for hitting you in the head with the phone?
No, he didn't.
And Skeet gets up and goes, "Come here, man. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for hitting your head with a phone."
And it's just so great because
So
what I
funny.
love about them is they could have easily been such assholes about the queer reading of these characters. Because there are so many people that unfortunately are.
And they played into it beautifully.
And they were like, nah, we totally understand why y'all think they're boyfriends. We also think they're boyfriends.
and or hello.
And
Horror
we
husbands.
support y'all in how you feel about this.
Yep.
And I love that. And something I'll say about Matt Lillard, which is why I think it's wonderful for him to be in horror, he loves being in franchises. And he's said this straight up.
Yeah.
He's so happy that he's now in Five Nights at Freddy's because he loves that he can be part of a franchise and like a pre-existing fan base that loves what he does and loves the material. And I think that's just so sweet because so many actors are so against being involved in kind of pre-existing, big, exciting franchising.
True.
And horror is a big, like,
No matter what, if you're
franchising
going to be
machine.
no, it is like if you name a single big time movie that doesn't have a franchise.
Exactly.
Name one.
Yeah.
Okay, like honestly, you have Jason has over what?
He has more than 10 movies.
Easily, I think he did 13.
You've got Jigsaw.
That's right, yeah.
Jigsaw, who had what are they up to? Like Saw 12.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Okay, you have fucking Freddy, who did I think 5 or 6 movies, not counting crossovers.
Not counting crossovers or the remake, I think he's got. If we're counting Wes Craven's New Nightmare, but not counting crossovers or the remake, he's at 7.
Right. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Chucky we already talked about it, like close to 7 films, a full TV show, a remake movie.
Yeah.
Fucking, Michael Myers, Halloween.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, I love Mike Myers.
He really likes penetrating people with knives, don't he?
Yeah, well, I mean, we didn't even get into this, but so much of slasher is so queer coded because of the idea of penetration. And I actually, funnily enough, had a film teacher when I was a senior in high school that did a whole talking dissertation on, I would like to put it, a Catholic high school who went into a whole dissertation that the idea of the knife for a male slasher is all about the phallic.
Of course
And
it is.
it's all about this queer idea of the phallic symbol because they feel that they are repressed in one way or another, whether it be a sexual inability, an inability to act on their sexual desires. And I was like, you know what? You're baller, my guy. You're right.
It's true.
And I
Like-
mean, bigger the knife, bigger the fall.
I mean, we didn't really get to touch on it, but I will briefly bring it up, is a lot of the times one of the things, and we could talk about this in another episode, and we will, is stereotyping of where if you're queer, you're automatically the villain and or homicidal. So they called it homo and homicidal. So
I mean, I am
We'll
homo
talk
and
about-
homicidal, but
yeah. We'll talk about that in another.
kidding.
We will talk about that in another episode because honestly, that deserves its own fucking
Exactly.
speaking points. But like the fact that if you're an actor and you enjoy being in a franchise movie, like we're talking, we'll go back to the Matthew Lillard thing. Matthew Lillard has been in Scooby-Doo. He's been in Scream. He's been in, now he's the Five Nights at Freddy's.
yes.
Like
he was so good.
that man. And the thing is like most people, and I can understand where an actor's coming from, they may not want to get typecasted, or what if the fandom absolutely fucking hates them?
totally.
You know? So cool. But Matthew Lillard is just so so good in everything he does. He can do no wrong, and I don't care. I will take no questions.
No, I'm fully on board with this. I love
fully on board.
Matthew Lillard.
Yes.
What did he say?
I forgot. Matthew Lillard is also in 13 Ghosts, one of my favorite movies
that
of
movie is
all
fantastic.
time.
Which he actually has been rumored with the new TV show that is coming out.
God, he better be in it.
He's already said that he will be making cameos and or maybe in the show altogether.
Oh my
He
God.
has not confirmed, but he did say he's in it.
I would actually cry my eyes out because how much I love 13 Ghosts. I am obsessed with 13 Ghosts. I'm sorry, y'all.
But no, nothing wrong with that. But any other closing remarks?
I mean, I'm just gonna speed run this real fast. Like, we don't have to go off about it, but some honorable mentions. I just want to say as we wrap up. It's less horror, more horror adjacent. Shape of Water.
Yeah.
Is phenomenal. Again, I wouldn't call it like a pure horror movie, but it's definitely got horror. It's definitely like a thriller, very horror adjacent. Suspense. And it is directly inspired by Creature from the Black Lagoon. Guillermo del Toro said this is basically Creature from the Black Lagoon if the creature actually got to be with the woman he loves.
Cool.
Yeah, and also what's very important to notice in that movie is the two people with the most speaking roles are a black woman and a gay man, who in the 1960s were people who were silenced the most, and that was the point. So I just wanted to throw that one out there. And also, again, horror adjacent. Definitely like Baby's gateway into horror. Courage the Cowardly Dog. I cannot.
Fuck yeah.
No, the episode The Mask. Listen, you had fucking cat and bunny lesbian couple.
Love this.
Literally, Courage is like Baby's introduction to horror, I feel like, for a lot of
Agreed.
people. And
I mean, we're talking a generation that grew up on Courage and Salad Fingers.
you see, I didn't
And
know Salad
Goosebumps.
Fingers, but
Goosebumps, Nightmare, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
I loved Are You Afraid of the Dark?
We can talk about that another day.
yeah. But, I just wanted to throw that one out there because we did talk about the Courage and the Mask in our other episode, so I didn't want to like go too much on it. Just wanted to shout it out because I love Courage. It's
true. I don't know. On that note, we gotta go. Thank you for celebrating episode 100 with us. And for listening to us bitch and moan about the things that we love and are near and dear to our hearts, which are our favorite genres and just joy. Because, yeah. I mean, right? Wrong?
Yeah. No, I love horror. I own more horror t-shirts than I care to admit.
Look, and I watch American Psycho more times than I should. That's my unwind. I technically work in corporate America movie, and sometimes I just need to be reminded that it could all be a slasher one
Again,
day.
another one you want to tell me that he's not repressed in.
That could be a whole. I know way too much.
We could do that whole episode on American Psycho.
I know way
alone.
too much.
We do. But on that note, guys, see ya!
Later.
Bye!